Every time she waited, every time she ignored that they were never fully available, but she kept staying available. Until one day she realized that this was a cycle and a pattern that she had been going through the moment she decided to lose her virginity. And later on down the line, she would only figure out that this was a karmic cycle that started way before her, but intergenerationally. And the reason why she was the one who became so keenly aware of it was because she was the one who was chosen to break it, dismantle it, rewrite it, recreate it. It took some time, but she chose herself. And not just that time, but every time. She stopped chasing. She stopped clinging. She stopped being codependent. She stopped attaching. And she started being calm, present, unbothered. She started saying no to inconsistent energy immediately. And that changed everything. When she stopped abandoning herself, love stopped abandoning her. She thought love meant waiting, waiting for consistency, emotional availability, waiting for effort, waiting to be chosen, waiting to be loved, waiting to be a priority. And in the moment where she realized, I realized, this was something that had to be broken. This was a cycle that had to be removed completely. I stopped playing with my life. I stopped playing with myself. Hey, everybody, welcome to the next episode of the Inner Truth Podcast. This is your host, Aisha. Here we talk about overcoming obstacles, breaking cycles, loving ourselves, being accountable, healing, and going through the unfiltered, divinely truths and hard, raw aspects of this life we live. So, today's episode, we are going to be talking about self-worth and behavior shifts. Because your girl just broke another cycle, y'all. So, come on in, get comfortable, sis, and let's talk. All right, y'all. So, today we talking about a cycle I just broke. And I would have never signed up to try to have this cycle being broke on my birthday weekend. But the universe always be having its plans, y'all, and always be having its little undercover little tactics to get us right. And with all these little cosmic happenings going on in my house, the house of Aries, which is identifies with the leadership, house of self and identity, I guess in a way it was bound to happen, y'all. But I, and this is something that you could like find out in my book if you want to order it, boom, boom, boom. Links in the bio. But this is something that I have been dealing with from the moment I lost my virginity. So I lost my virginity at 16, and I thought the guy that I lost my virginity to was going to be the guy that I got married to. And only to find out that he wasn't cheating on me with one girl, but he was cheating on me with two girls, okay? And I found out the moment I had come into town because we lived in separate towns, so I had to take like 4 buses to get to his side of town. But for whatever reason, I guess he felt like, because these girls went to his school, the temptation, you're young, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Long story short, he started, he got caught, basically. And I cut his ass off. But that was also the first time that I realized, looking back now, that was the first time and the last time that I held myself in the capacity and in the space that I deserve to hold myself. That was the first and last time that I would see myself, choose myself, and didn't even know it. Because every situationship, entanglement, relationship, after him, I started losing myself. And I don't know if it was like, something within me that was like attracting these type of men to me, where they were like good men for the time being and then expose themselves. I don't know, y'all, but over the years I started losing myself in these type of men. And honestly, I didn't even know if it was karma for letting the first man go, but it was like I chose myself. Wasn't that the right thing to do? If you find out somebody you like or love is like cheating on you, like not with just one girl but two, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a fucking confidence and self-esteem crusher right there, baby. Like for real, for real. So anyways, down the line, I definitely started to lose myself in these type of connections, and it got harder with each connection to it was like I was growing in age, but I was not growing in maturity and emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence and everything, and self-love and the things that was necessary. So it's like I was going down a rabbit hole within itself. And every connection with a man that I had always ended up with me being hurt. It always ended up with me being hurt. And um, me sacrificing my innocence and my livelihood and my happiness and, you know, my self-love and my self-value and my self-worth. And I think at even one point in my life, everything just became so blurry. It's like the more men that I got into relationships with and connections with, thinking that they loved me, you know, the more I started to lose myself in them. So it became, I guess, in its own right, like a energy transfer, energy swap, destiny swap, I guess, in a sense, where I would be looking at them, I'd be taking on their raggedy ass energy and self hate and low self esteem, no confidence, um, fake confidence, and everything else that I ended up seeing myself turn into. And after 2021, when I got pregnant for the third time, and that man that I got pregnant by treated me like shit and left me in the hospital with his baby's foot kicked out my stomach. Like, it was still, the baby was still in the sack. She was still in the sack, but she ruptured my hernia. So her sack had kicked through the hernia. And I had to undergo surgery. And the doctor was very adamant when they said that either she wouldn't make it or I wouldn't make it or we both wouldn't make it. There was a high risk with that, especially at the time of how far along pregnant I was. Thank God we both made it out very healthy, everything intact. So I know God was watching over us. Like, it's those moments. But anyways, back to the conversation of tonight. Um, so I waited, I lost myself so much that I felt like I was only worth waiting for, and accepting breadcrumbs, and accepting men who couldn't pour fully into me or who couldn't choose me fully. It's like I walked around with the guilt of choosing myself from the very first man that I ever dealt with, the one who took my virginity. And even though I know I did right by choosing myself, I guess in a way I kind of held on to guilt and walked around with guilt and shame and embarrassment and resentment from that man, even putting me in a position to have to choose myself. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I loved you, dude. Like, I thought we was gonna be high school sweethearts. You know what I'm saying? And you pulled this move off of me on me, and it's like, you wasn't even all that fucking cute to be trying to do some shit like that to me. But at the same time, like, I didn't really think I was that cute either, because I didn't have self-esteem or confidence in my damn self. You know what I'm saying? So I guess in a way it was like I started off choosing the wrong attention in the first place. I put myself in the wrong hands to begin with, and that kind of led me down a path of where I just kept putting myself in the wrong hands, the wrong admiration, the wrong gaze, you know what I'm saying? And in the wrong company of these men. And each time I would get hurt because they would either cheat, they would either, you know, try to keep me around for their own selfish reasons, take advantage of my light, dim my light. They were either narcissists or misogynistics. They were, you know, they were definitely not men that I needed to be with, but for some reason I kept thinking I needed to be with those type of men. And like it just clicked. I think the last time it started clicking and my eyes were beginning to open when I met this guy in 2019 and I fell head over heels for him, only to find out that he was already making plans and arrangements to marry somebody else. And it's so fucked up because he went and married this woman that he was swearing up and down he didn't want to marry, and she was annoying and this and that. You know what I'm saying? But he went off and married her on May 4th. So, Star Wars Day. May the force be with you. That's so funny. But and then had the nerve to try to talk shit about me after he married her, because now it was time. I felt like I wanted to tell my story, because nigga, you're not gonna play in my face and do all this shit and then, so he felt like he had to try to defend himself and all the shit that he talked about this same woman that he went to marry, to me. And I just felt compelled to tell my story. You know what I'm saying? And then he wanted to show his ass and try to make it seem like, oh, you was nothing, you ain't nothing, you ain't this, you ain't that. Like, bitch, I could read through the lines. I could read through the lines. You only doing this shit because you don't want her to think a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? And you gonna hurt yourself. You gonna fuck yourself off in the long run because you play with me. And you knew, like this guy, he knew that I was, one of God's warriors. He knew because he was kind of spiritual himself in a sense, but he used his spirituality in a way to manipulate and get his way with people. So he knew where I stood spiritually. You know what I'm saying? He knew the kind of light I carried and the kind of anointing I had. And it was just like, you already know you finna fuck yourself off by doing this to me. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't give a fuck. He didn't give a fuck. But I think with him, after that, like, I wailed. Like, I'd never seen myself cry. He was the guy who broke my soul and broke my heart. And you would think it was the first guy that I thought I was going to be with, but nah. Nah. What me and this other guy had, me and the first guy didn't have. And that guy broke my heart and my soul, baby, and left it and just didn't give a fuck. And so after him, I think I just stopped giving a fuck too. After him, I stopped giving a fuck. I went on this path where it was just like, at this point, I don't give a fuck where it leads me. Because this will be the last fucking time I fall in love with a man. You know what I'm saying? And, they say be careful what you wish for. Because then when I met my third daughter's dad in 2020, August of 2020, things were kind of cool, but at the same time, he presented red flags from the beginning, but I was still kind of in that phase where it's just like, I just don't give a fuck. Like, I started numbing out. I was numb at this point, so I didn't really give a fuck where my life ended up. But at the same time, I had 2 other children that I had to be there for, and I don't think nobody talks about the grief that goes into you knowing who you are but losing who you are at the same time, and then just not giving a fuck about what happens to you at that point, So things with him happened, and then, here and there down the line, I would run into other men. But this weekend, with everything going on in the cosmos, this weekend was the weekend where I didn't have to be tested not once, not twice, but 3 times from 3 different men representing themselves in 3 different ways. One, unavailable. The second one, a narcissist and a misogynist. Okay. The last one, avoidant, but honest. Honest, but avoidant. And it was just like, okay. I feel like everybody, all my spiritual team was rooting for me. Like, is she going to get it this time? Or is she going to fall for the bait? Is she going to fall for the comfort? Is she going to fall for the cycle that keeps repeating? Is she going to wait for the third guy to finish out with what he's dealing with his baby mama? Is she going to wait for the guy who's in separation but don't really know or not really making really good intentional steps on a divorce? Is she going to wait for him to transition? Is she going to wait for the guy or give the guy who's a fucking narcissist? Is she going to sit around and give him another chance to just fuck her over again? Is she going to sit around and give him another chance even though he came back and apologized, to turn around and do the same shit? Or is she going to cut it off? And for the first guy, is she going to see him as someone who has potential and stick around and wait for him to see her for who she is? Even though she witnessed him leave a space with another woman. And it doesn't matter. Is she going to try to paint a different picture or write a different story because he said that he had to take this woman to her car because her friends left her and he didn't want her to be, without? Or is she going to recognize it for what it truly fucking is? The fact that he just wasn't that into you, boo. Because if he was, there's no way in hell that would have happened. And my thing just went off. My phone just vibrated when I said that, and the clock was 10:10. 10:10 is like spirit and self mirrors, being like a mirror holding up to you, being held up to you. You know what I'm saying? So for me, when I just said that, and it just going off, like, are you going to try to paint a different picture, see the potential in him, or wait it out, try to write a different story versus the one that he said? Or are you going to recognize that if he really was fucking with you like that, there's no way in hell he would have left with the other woman? You know what I'm saying? If it was any woman that he was leaving with, it would have been you, right? So here we are. I have all these karmic patterns and cycles all in one space in 3 different guys, right? And they're just in my face. And the universe is like, so how are you going to handle this? Are we done here? Are we fully going to break this? Are we going to choose ourselves again? Are we going to let go of the shame, the guilt, resentment, and embarrassment that happened 3 decades ago? The moment you chose yourself with the first guy? Or do we have to carry this out for another decade? And y'all, like, I could sit up here and puff myself up, and I'm really proud of myself. So don't get it twisted. I'm very proud of myself. It's just that I've been on this cycle, this hamster wheel for like almost 3 decades. I'm exhausted with this bullshit. I can't take another test in this same area of bullshit. Okay. So But I am very proud of myself that I closed this out today. You know what I'm saying? And yes, the heart in me, the golden heart in me, the angelic earth angel in me, the one who can see people's potential, the one who could see where people are broken sometimes, the one, the one that, got that, this is the part of me that got me fucked up in these spaces in the first place. I I chose me. I chose me. I chose me for myself, but I chose me for the little girl. I chose me for the teenager inside of me. I chose me for my children who are also little girls. I chose me for every little girl in my lineages on both sides of my ancestry lines. I chose me for every woman on both sides of my ancestry lines, every teenager on both sides of my ancestry line. I chose me for every woman and little girl that I will be called to be and help overcome these same cycles and obstacles and break them and patterns and help break them. So, as much fun as it was getting all this admiration and attention from all three of these guys this birthday weekend, it was very clear when the first one started showing his ass, when the first one tried to act like him taking me to my car to change my shoes out, gave him permission to try to make me out to be some easy ass hoe. Okay? That's where it started. Cause nigga, you got me fucked up. You to the point you had me so fucked up to the point where I had to let you know and hold you accountable right then and there. And I didn't give a fuck if you got rowdy with me or not. But you're not finna stand here and see these other men passing by and tell these other men, oh, y'all can't come this way right now. I'm doing some stuff right now. I got some stuff in here going on that y'all can't see. Like, bitch, I'll slap the shit out of you. So yeah, I had to hold him accountable. And I had to let his ass go. And then you want to show your ass, because I tell you, the same way you got to this motherfucking lounge tonight is the same way you better get your motherfucking ass home. I don't do projects no more. I don't do niggas where you trying to hop in my car for me to take you home. Like, bitch, where's your car at? So that means that means if I did give your ass a chance, you wouldn't have really nothing to offer me or add to my motherfucking goddess table. Bitch, get the fuck on. And then he goes try to show his ass because now you embarrass it in your feelings. Let me know when you get home. And then I let him know when I get home. And he say, great, now lose my number. Bitch, you're not hurting my feelings. You did something really good for the both of us. Because honestly, after last night, I was not going to fuck with you anymore anyway. That's why I left your ass outside making a mockery out of yourself with them other niggas. Okay? And went to go talk to the other nigga that was trying to get my attention. And I'm not puffing my chest up and I'm not saying that I'm proud, but I was a single fucking woman out. It was my birthday weekend. I was a single motherfucking woman out. I ain't entertained not now, nigga, in a while. And I could recognize that I was going through a testing phase spiritually, just by the way that each man was presenting itself to me. And one thing I've learned on this journey about myself is as an Aries, I'm up for a challenge. But that don't mean I got to take on every fucking challenge. But also with me knowing that I'm in the ending phases of ending cycles once and for all. And this was one of them cycles that had me in a chokehold for almost 3 fucking decades. From the time I was 16 I just turned 35 years fucking old. And I closed it out. And this time I didn't close it out from a space of emotional attachment, chaos, drama, rowdy shit like I usually did. This time I close it out with peace and compassion and love and just understanding. Because now I recognize what's going on here. And I recognize I don't want to be a part of this clown show no more. And I recognize that I deserve better than this. And I recognize that the more I entertain what's not for me, the more delayed what is for me is going to take. And honestly, I don't think we sit around and we talk about, when we break a cycle, especially one that had us in a chokehold emotionally. Like this shit, you feel proud about it, but at the same time, you like, damn, I wish I wouldn't have never been in this shit in the first fucking place. Because now that I'm not in it, and I have graduated from it, it's like this shit, it don't feel like an accomplishment for me because I was in it for so fucking long. I didn't choose myself for so fucking long. This is not an accomplishment for me. I'm proud of myself that I did it. I got out of this loop, this cycle, this pattern. I found me again. I chose me again and again and again. Tic-tac-toe 3 in a motherfucking row. Knocked them out like bowling pins. And what makes it so fucked up is the last guy. The last guy was truly a sweetheart. He was truly a sweetheart. He's rough around the edges. He got shit he got to grow up in. But I can't, I can't sacrifice, And he was actually the guy that helped me jump my battery this weekend for my birthday weekend because, the universe just had to do some extra shit. So I'm leaving the lounge and then my car battery won't start. Oh my gosh. So I had to see two things at one time. One, I had to see the nigga who got his ass in my motherfucking back seat, who couldn't help me fix my car, but was worried about me taking his ass home when my car got fixed. Wouldn't even get out the car to help me figure out a solution to get my car. Okay? So, nigga, you was cut. You was cut. Period. You can't even help me, nigga. Like, you're cut. Nigga, I really don't deal with you type of niggas no more. You know what I'm saying? Y'all been cut. So I don't even know why the universe would send your ass my way, because that was an easy ass fucking test, But the other one, it wasn't so easy because you was a sweetheart. You helped me. You was kind to me. You grounded me. I felt embarrassed because my car wouldn't start. Like, I'm out having this good ass time. Now my car battery won't start. Like, what the fuck? I got to ask this handsome ass, nice ass, gentle ass man to help me get my car started. What a first fucking impression, right? But that doesn't bypass the fact that I would still be in a space of waiting. I would still be in a space of, even if we did hang out, it would still be, there would be drama that followed that, right? Because you're still in an intimate type of setting with your baby mama, whether you're trying to figure out a way to get rid of her or let her go or whatever. You're still in something, you know what I'm saying? And it's just not in alignment with what I'm trying to have a part of my life. It's not in alignment with the type of woman I've become. It's not in alignment with the type of man that I deserve to have, and I know that I deserve to have now, right? So, to the women out there, I really want to express that it is time. You've got to stop seeing the potential. You've got to start choosing yourself. You've got to stop waiting in line. Stop waiting in line. You are not nobody's fucking trophy. You are not a trophy that somebody could put on a shelf. You're not a placeholder that somebody could say, I'm going to deal with you until I actually find the one that I want. Okay? You're not somebody's, oh, I'm going to fuck on you, but I don't want commitment. You're not somebody's, I don't have the capacity to hold all of you, but I'll hold the part of you that allows me to get in between its legs whenever I want. You're not the woman that I'm going to settle for a narcissist ass fucking loser. Okay? That I know is down the line going to drain and deplete the fuck out of me. And then take my beautiful ass energy and go and try to play house with somebody else while I'm over here drained. Okay? And women, you definitely you're not a woman who just waits in the shadows to be loved on the sideline. This ain't no Monica sideline hoe. Okay? As women, we were created to be chosen. Priority. Okay? Protected and provided for. Even if we were independent women. That doesn't take away the fact that we deserve to still be protected, chosen, provided for. You know what I'm saying? And a priority. So, when you stop overgiving, tolerating inconsistencies, abandoning yourself instead of choosing yourself, quality over quantity, y'all. Self love over self abandonment, y'all. Choosing you every fucking time. Even when it's hard. And trust me, whew, the type of men out here that we have been having to deal with and learn these lessons through, it's very hard. Sometimes it's hard to read them. Sometimes it's hard to filter them out. But when you know, you know. When you know yourself, then it becomes easier to spot what's not aligned with you. When you know what you want, when you know what you're calling in, when you know what you've worked hard to heal within yourself, so that you become a better and more clearer channel and frequency match for what you do want, what you actually deserve. And once you really figure out your value and your worth and understanding that it's not tied to a man, it's a totally different ball game. But it still doesn't mean that when you come across a man who doesn't meet that a part of you who used to crave that and be comfortable with that won't try to double back and pick that up. So that's where the pattern in real time of you releasing, figuring out who you are, what you want, what you actually deserve and worthy of, and then taking actions and putting things in place for when that pattern tries to show up or that cycle tries to show back up in your life, that you can lean on to help you get through it yet again, right? So for me, I had things put in place for myself. So, one, I started loving myself more. I started taking time to isolate and be in stillness with intention. to figure out who I was, what I liked, what I actually didn't like, what actually turns me on and what absolutely turns me off, what I'm actually attracted to and what I'm not. Whether I was okay with settling, or accepting, tolerating, or settling in. And even if those words were even something that went along with my blueprint makeup, which I figured out they don't. For me to settle, accept, or tolerate bullshit, that's not, no, it's not a part of my blueprint. But for the longest, it was. You know what I'm saying? So these were things that I had put in place. I released what I knew, what I saw that I didn't want a part of my life no more when it came to men. I started sitting with myself to figure out my energy, who I was, and what I actually wanted. And I started planting seeds and speaking life over those type of men and over myself to become the vibrational match and frequency for those type of men to be able to find. Right? With me knowing that I would still have to go through things to break out and close out other parts of the cycles that had me still with men that weren't for me, right? So, when you choose yourself, when you really figure out, and then you put that, you've gone through the releasing, you've gone through the renewal, you've gone through the integration, you naturally then you naturally filter out unavailable people. And so now I'm in the phase where now I'm having to lean on my faith that and trust that I've done my part. I've closed out this cycle. And it was hard to do, but I did it. And whenever another person tries to present themselves to me that's unavailable or that reminds me of anything that I just had to close out, right? almost 30 years worth of, or I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Almost, almost 30 years. Whew, God, I'm thankful I didn't have to go through that. Almost 20 years worth of things that, of a years worth of a cycle that I've gone through an experience that I finally am closing out. You know, now the part comes where the universe has to match me and meet me in the vibration of she wants more. So we have to give her more aligned men for her to be able to filter out who will actually pour into her and choose her and protect her and provide for her and see her and be able to hold all of who she is and not fumble her, you know? Because that was another thing that I was experiencing where, they would fumble me when they had me and then realize after I was gone that, oh my gosh, you were the blessing. How do I get you back, And it's just like, you can't. You can't. I think after I stayed 12 years with one of them and just kept letting him use me as a revolving door, after that, I was just like, nobody gets this much time of my energy. But I wasn't fully consciously aware that I was still within a habit, within a habit, and a pattern within a pattern, and a cycle within a cycle. I didn't realize that, right? So, but now I have broken another cycle, pattern, obstacle. And it's a bittersweet feeling because it took me so long to do it. It's a bittersweet because for so long I didn't love myself enough to have the courage to do it. I didn't trust myself to be able to do it. And it's sweet because I finally know I am that chick. You know? I finally know that I deserve the best. And I finally know that I'm not in a space where I want to settle for breadcrumbs with anybody anymore. You know, I finally know that I have the power within me to choose what's right for me and what's not. And that I don't have to de- delegate that power to a man to choose whether he's right for me or he's not. I chose me. And when I chose me and I consistently kept choosing me, it only made it right for this law, the spiritual law, to kick in and choose me too. So, I want to say to the women that are out there who are struggling with this, take it day by day, step by step. Day by day, step by step. But you got to take a step. You've got to keep moving forward because you will continue to be tested on you standing 10 toes down on what you say. Because also, that was another thing. I would say I was done with somebody, and then the moment they came back, apologize, I would take their ass back. Right? Or I'd say, you know, I'm not doing this no more, and then find myself right back in this shit with another person. Oh my gosh. I can laugh about it now because I see it for what it is now. I fully, all of me fully recognizes that that's not a cycle I want to keep going in, being a part of. And that after this weekend, just seeing how many men were in their own way kind of lining up to get my attention, it just let me know, like, baby, you was out here subjecting yourself to one fucking scrub, and there was, you know, there's men. Well, in my sense, there's many fucking scrubs for you to choose from, but also in the sense now with the elevated healed aspect of it is that there's many men out here who will give you what you actually deserve, who will pour into you like you actually deserve, who will provide and protect you like you actually deserve, who will provide for you the type of environment where you can flourish, where you can multiply. You know what I'm saying? The type of men, there are the type of men out here who will pamper you, love you, okay? From the bottom of your feet to the top of your head and everything in between, okay? And you just got to understand that you deserve that type of man. And you've got to become the vibrational match to that type of man. And it takes work for yourself, not for the man. Don't be doing this just for the man. You got to do this. You got to want this chain to break. You got to want these cycles and patterns to break. You got to want this for you first, because you got to realize that it's because you know you deserve it and nothing less of it, right? So that is today's podcast episode, y'all. I don't know what I'm going to title it, but I do want to say take what resonates. Even if you got something from this, one thing from this, take what resonates. Drop a comment. Let me know how you felt about this this podcast episode, and drop a comment. Let me know where you are in your journey, what you still might be needing help with. I like to engage. Um, I like to engage and share wisdom. You know what I'm saying, and just be on the lookout for more things to come. Um, but also, if you want to start your journey, um, I got books that I've published and that can help you get started there. But also, these podcast episodes that I'm talking about can help you get started. And, you know, you tapping back in with your spirit, building a relationship with God and your ancestors that can help you get started. You know what I'm saying? There's ways to get started, and time is only a construct on this realm. It doesn't exist anywhere else in the cosmos. And so just start. Pick somewhere to start and start. So find something that resonated with you in this episode and start from there. You know? And be easy on yourself, because we're all on this journey trying to grow, evolve, and remember who we are, whose we are, and what we really here for. We're all on this journey trying to rewrite the things that those before us couldn't, or didn't have the courage to. So take your time, be present in your lessons that you have to learn, be present in seeing the patterns that you have to break, the cycles you have to close out, the loops you have to get the hell off of, and become more intentional about that. Get out of your comfort zone, because I was definitely pushed out of my comfort zone this weekend. And just remember that all attention isn't good attention. And if you know yourself, you know the type of attention you want comes from a man who is willing to be able to hold all of you, every part of you, consistently and without flaw. You might make a mistake along the path, but yeah, he gonna know what he got and not try to fuck it up. So, this is today's episode of the Inner Truth Podcast. Thank you for joining in with me. Sis, I hope you take something with you today that you can apply to your life, your journey, in order to evolve, elevate, grow, and love yourself a little more. Until next time, I'm your host, Staisha. I'm signing out. Bye.